artists are realizing that like we're really a lot stronger like as a team, just because again of like how difficult it is for people in our position to kind of break that international barrier, and like I don't think many have done that. I think Keitra is one of the first in like our group, in our like generation to break that, and even he is like barely spoken about in like Quebec media really. It's important we talk about it more and more, and also that we realize that we're better together. Hi, this is KALLITECHNIS and you're watching the Introducing series.
Step into my life and I'll show you what I do to be free. I was walking one day crying, too much energy supplying, but I knew better, so I told me.
I'm Greek Canadian, and a couple of years ago when I was just thinking about an artist name, I guess I wanted to allude to my ethnicity just because it's a very big part of my identity. And so I decided to use KALLITECHNIS as an artist name. It's a Greek word and it means master of craft. The word and the definition master of craft, the word craft can basically encompass a variety of mediums. It doesn't necessarily have to be singing. And you know, I sing, I dance, I enjoy painting, sculpting. So I just like the idea of being able to be comprehensive and not feel limited by one medium. I don't think I ever intend to be one particular thing, and even my like the conscious decisions I have sometimes to like do something that's a little less pop. It's not because I'm trying to resist anything or whatever. It's just very easy as an emerging artist to put out music and then to be like boxed in that genre forever. And I observe as a listener of music that when someone comes out with like a pop song, it's very easy for someone to just be like branded as that like aspiring pop star and whatever. So rather than do that, and rather than do things that are expected of me, I just kind of fuse everything that I love together in one sound. And I'm lucky enough to work with producers that are fairly eclectic as well, and like all of their music is basically a hybrid of a bunch of genres. And I think that's where I'm at right now in my music. It's, I guess, predominantly like soul, R&B, but I love combining like a variety of musical genres together. I think that's what it is in 2018. It's very hard to classify what everything is, and especially when I'm like actively trying to piece all the things I love into the music. It's gonna end up being a hybrid, so that's what it is. I'm very thankful that like any music I've put out is like directly inspired from Montreal, and how, again, like I was talking about how my music is a hybrid. I think my music is a hybrid because I come from Montreal, and Montreal is very much a cultural mosaic, you know. Like I love the fact that everyone's, at least the people that I surround myself with are very accepting of one another, and like all the ethnicities come together, and you know, it's an extremely multicultural city, which is nice and refreshing, and it's fun to be able to put that like good energy into music, you know. So in that sense, yeah, Montreal is very inspiring, and it's like all the more reason why I'm excited to rep it, just because I'm very proud to come from such a rich city and culture. Again, like that negative, or not even negative, it's just like the reality of it, that I mentioned before about like it also being limiting is just a question of like, you know, geography and politics, and just the way music has been since the beginning of time, you know, like
it's more the market.
It really is more the market, yeah, and just like the platforms that Canadians are given, they're not as respected as American ones, you know. Like I think it's changing more and more now with obviously the pioneer Drake and people like Daniel Caesar and Charlotte Day Wilson, and but yeah, no, again, I just go back to how like we're perceived by a lot of people, and you know, you can't really compare like the Grammys to the Junos, for instance, you know. Like that disconnect is what I'm trying to bridge, and what I think a lot of artists are trying to bridge. I realized that when I would tell myself soul over ego, it was just a really helpful couple of words to just get me through a lot of different situations, a lot of tough ones. So to me, what soul over ego means is that the soul's needs outweigh the ego's wants. And I think although soul and ego are again very like relative terms, and some people may not believe in a soul, or some people may have a different definition of it than I do, but generally for me the soul is just the intangible, like I'm not just, to me at least, I'm not just like a physical body in front of you, but like I'm an entity, and that entity is comprised of like a lot of love and a lot of light and a lot of goodness and a lot of naivety that I think a lot of us lose as we grow older. So contrast that with the ego, which I then associate with like my insecurities and my doubts and all those like really ugly emotions and like sentiments that like kind of like can take over us, especially in 2018 when a lot of like society's pressures are very like ego-based and self-involved. So again, just this whole soul over ego ethos is something that I think is always going to be relevant in my own life, and something that I care to push through my art, just because I think it's a nice message that a lot of people can relate to. I definitely would say I co-produce. So I'm not passive. I have the luxury of being in the studio with a producer. I'm very much there, and literally note by note, or I'm very vocal in what I want, because it's my creation at the end of the day. It's just as important to me as the lyrics. So I'd like to say I very much co-produce all of the music, and hopefully one day I'll be doing the production mostly on my own. Yeah, that's the goal. I think it was a bit of like a test for me, because I tend to like go away from music that in my opinion is like very pop-like. And this was the first time I really like allowed myself to do something a bit more like pop oriented in terms of like the overall vibe and how most people would classify it. So yeah, I thought it would be cool to just have those two paired and released together, just because they're also fairly similar in the type of energy they have and the tempo and the themes. So yeah, it was just kind of like a little gift as I work on like a bigger project, just to like release that, and yeah.
I don't know what I do this. Yeah, I'm done playing these games with you. Oh baby, oh baby.
Music is a passion of mine, so I intend to really just use it as a tool to just carry on a lot of the positivity that I've had in my own life, and just to help people with this tool basically, and to just spread whatever goodness like I feel to the people who listen to the music. And yeah, just mainly as therapy and creating content that other people can relate to as well. Yeah, super noisy. Soul over ego. Yeah.